I've had family members who laughed when told them that I'm probably going to start my own business. And they're like, yeah, I mean, of course you're going to do that.
Hello everyone, I'm Pratyush and you're listening to The Underdog Protagonist. This podcast is for those who want to take ownership of their lives. Here I'm narrating a story of a major breakthrough that is yet to happen. Today I'm joined by Jayashree from Jay Design Studios, and we are here to explore ways on how you can establish a successful design studio or agency for yourself. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Hi Jay, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So for the people who don't know you, can you just briefly explain who you are and what you do?
So, hi, I'm Jayashree, and I run a small branding and identity design studio called J Design Studio. I'm based in Bangalore, India, and I'm on a mission to help fempreneurs who are running a business of their own.
So I've been a designer myself for the last 6 years or so, and although I'm currently into a full-time job, I also like to know the know-hows of starting agency, because I myself want to get into the agency space and establish a brand for myself. I feel like the podcast is very relevant for both of us, because somehow it creates an intersection between your niche and mine, because you have already established a design studio, and I'm someone who is trying to get into the space and establish a studio myself.
So, what kind of clients do you serve?
For me, I haven't specified a proper niche as of now. I have been working with electronics brand, but if I have to specify a niche, even if not the electronic space, but a bit broader, you can say, so that would be Amazon and Flipkart brands or companies that want to establish a market on that space. So there are a lot of things that people like me who need to know before taking the leap or heading towards the agency space, or anyone who is currently in a space where they are currently in a full-time job and they want to do that, take that big leap of faith. So in your opinion, what do you think is the right time for someone to start an agency?
So, there are multiple factors involved in this sort of scenario. Why do you want to start an agency? Why is it so important for you? And then, do you have the bandwidth to do that? There is a lot of things that you'll have to let go, which is firstly the comfort of a salary. Then there is the comfort of other benefits that come with a job, like say insurance, medical coverage, and we are losing out on that. So is it completely worth it for you? I stayed in the job that I did not hate this job of mine. They were very kind to me. I actually respect the job that I was part of in the very end. I was working in Amazon for more than 4 years. And within the end of second year of working in Amazon, I realized that I want to start on my own. I did not want to continue working for others. I did not want to be this order taker who's just doing the exact work. There is no expansion of creativity. So that was a little frustrating for me. So I decided that I wanted to start on my own. But that decision itself was not enough. You need to be very certain in this decision for a very long time. And then the rest of the 2 years I worked on actually saving up the money for it. You need to have this cushion money, so that as soon as you get started in your business, you are not worrying that, oh my God, I need to start getting those clients. Where will I get them? When that desperation starts happening in designers, they actually end up booking bad clients more than good clients. So save up the money is the first thing I would say. Secondly, that decision to start your own agency has to be very clear, and it's a stubborn decision you have to be. I've had family members who laughed when I told them that I'm probably going to start my own business, and they're like, yeah, I mean, of course you're going to do that, and in the future, right? And I was like, no, it's going to happen very soon. And for that to happen, you need to know why you are doing this. For me, it was a time comfort, that I had the full authority over my time. I have a 1.5-year-old child, and I did not want to work in a setup where she's coming running to me and I'm saying that, no, you have to go, I have a call. I want to be there and available for her. So these are the small things that were very big part of me deciding, no, I want this. I definitely want this. And along with that, there is other factors, which is the skill. If you're not skilled enough to do that, then it is really not going to make the effort worthwhile. So in the 2 years when I decided, I was consuming content like a drug addict. I was fully immersed in videos from the future Christo. I was watching videos by Tony Robbins. I was learning about entrepreneurship. It was almost like a whole new world was open for me. And I was learning how to run my business. I was reading books on business. I was reading books on creative business. And I had to learn, right? It was a necessity at this point. I come from a background where everyone in my previous generations have only worked for others. So if I go and tell them that I'm starting a business of my own, there's this like sudden pushback. They are like, oh no, are you sure? Aren't businesses supposed to fail? They go in that direction. So it is not helpful for us. So we needed to learn what is it that we have to do. So I went and consumed a lot of books and videos on how to run my business. And eventually, after that, only once I knew that I had enough savings, I was ready to quit. I quit my job. When my husband asked me, okay, let's say you don't get clients for 2-3 years, what are you gonna do? I say I'll release a product. I'll start releasing the product. I'll cater to the designers, and if that doesn't work, I will start creating artworks, and I will start catering to mothers who want to wear some good clothes. I had to have business ideas ready. My ABC had to be within entrepreneurship. If this doesn't work, this works. This doesn't work, and all of it was under this umbrella of business. I wanted to do design business. That was it.
We had discussed about niching down, right? And why niches are important. We all designers have heard this, is that riches are in the niches, right? Can you talk a little bit about that? What do you think about that aspect of niching down?
So when I started out, I was mad in love with restaurant branding. I was like, oh my god, the napkins have to be perfect. The cutlery needs to have the engraving of the logo. And I was obsessed with how the interior colors need to be exactly in right thing. And I knew that I could help my ideal clients get there, okay? It's a very designer trait, when the designer goes to a restaurant and they look at the menu and they are like, nah, I could have done better. And I think it's there when it started it all. And I was like, you know what, I can do better. I can actually help them out. And then what I did was, so I created dummy projects in those niches. And I got my biggest client in a restaurant industry only, Santana's, which was a food truck brand. They were a Mexican food truck brand. They were shifting to a restaurant scale. If somebody is looking at your work, right, what they expect in your portfolio is that, it's not how many works you have. It's not how diverse your work is. Do you know video editing? Do you know photo editing? Do you know this, that? No. They care about one thing. Can you solve my problem? And when we identify that who's this person who's looking at me and asking, can you solve my problem? For me, it has to be a restaurant owner. It has to be a restaurant CEO. And he has to look at me and he has to see whether I can solve this problem. And how can I solve this problem? By having multiple good proofs of me presenting how I have solved this problem earlier. And I don't have to solve this problem for a real client. When I'm beginning my journey, it could be a fake client. There's this cafe who's in the right spot but does not have the right thing. So how would I have designed it? So you have to tell a story in your project, and you have to just narrate that. And we also become very searchable in that matter. When we niche down, what will they say? Restaurant branding, luxury restaurant branding. They will look for inspiration on that. And if we do not have something like that, they will be like out there. And if we have more examples in a similar line, I created branding for a burger restaurant. I created for a Indian cafe, and all of this were food related. And they were like, yes, I think this girl could help us. And that's why we have to create that sort of a connect. And immediately they start associating us to be the expert in that particular niche. So that's why I think it's important.
At some point, a designer feels limited by the market, saying that the available market in this niche is very short and the competition is high. It's very easy for me to provide multiple services and help or cater multiple categories of brands rather than focusing on one, because that seems like an easier path to go into. It might be better to have a wider audience, because that way we can camouflage our skills or maybe uncertainties that we have in our brains, right? So yeah, in that aspect I feel like many are going wrong, and that is why niching down is much more important.
I tend to quote Christo from Future a lot, and I'll continue to do that now. He says that if you don't decide whom you're speaking to no one. And I imagine it like being this big fish market where anyone is screaming at everyone. The owner of the store is screaming at everyone. yeah, like potatoes, tomatoes, and everything, and he doesn't know who really wants it. And if he had a very specific board as to what he sells and everything, and if he was visible enough, I think the right audience will come in, and he does not even have to shout at them. It's more like a gentle whisper, right? You want this, you want that. Like, if somebody asks me, like, why do you think it's very important to niche? I'd say that I have done this work 1,000 times and so many more times that I know all the possible mistakes that could happen in this industry. I know everything that could go wrong. And guess what? I'll not let it go wrong. So for you, I'm the expert to work with. When you ooze confidence like that, they're like, yes, I don't want mistakes. I don't want any sort of hiccups in my project. I'd rather go with the expert for that reason. So that is really why you need to be able to, niche down to a particular industry.
Niching down might be a big risk at the start, but it definitely helps the business or the agency in the long run.
It does. And one thing I would advise new designers is that if you niche to one thing at the moment, it really is not set in stone. First, experiment this particular niche. If few years down the line you feel like this is not a niche working for you, you can shift it. But for now, give all into this one niche. Then you can go. And when you give that sort of reassurance to yourself, it's easier to operate.
Now the question arises that if starting an agency is a right fit for everyone, what do you think is the quality, or what are the certain qualities that you need to have before getting into the space of crafting an agency for yourself?
Like I said earlier, there has to be this rigid excitement and love for the entrepreneurship itself. But it also means that for a lot of creators, I have to be very honest, if you do start an agency that is eventually going to scale, there's a very good possibility that when it scales, you won't be actually designing or actually creating the work. You'll probably hire people, you'll probably get them to do the work, and so on. So that is something you need to be ready for. It's a lot of managing. So we think that, I would rather talk to clients and my manager should not be doing. I'll talk to clients directly and I will design. That sort of an engagement is possible in an agency where somebody else is managing you. Because funny thing that I was recently experiencing, and I wanted to share it on social media as a rant of some kind, which is that, as an entrepreneur, I'm extremely lonely. I have to learn so many skills. I need to know video editing. I need to know how to write good content. I need to be able to be a good client facilitator. I need to know how to take care of my taxes, bills. I need to be good at hiring people. I need to be able to manage them properly, give them proper instructions. If hiccups happen, I need to be able to manage the clients properly. I need to be strict with my clients sometimes, like the payment has to come through or something like that. There's so many portions and you have to do it on your own. And I think in the glamorizing of entrepreneurship, people don't talk about these stuff at all. It's very lonely. It's sometimes extremely boring. You have to be ready to be okay with that. Regardless of all this, if you're excited to start your work on Monday, to work on your business, then you're doing it right.
So if you have to narrow it down into saying three particular or three important factors that make up your mindset to form a successful agency, or to at least start up with an agency business, what would be your answer to that?
I'd say be ready to fail a lot. Grow thick skin enough that if this fails, it's fine. If this fails, it's fine. But keep experimenting. If you don't try at all, you'll really not know what is working for your business. Do the uncomfortable stuff.
Not everyone, jumps out of the comfort zone and saying yes to something that they're not prepared at the moment. Talking about this comfort zone, we have discussed, we have briefly spoken about having that pocket of savings and having that financial aid before you jump into your business. So can you take us through the financial aspects of running an agency or starting up an agency?
But I'll tell you what I remember from the top of my head as to what are the investments that I was very focused on. So I wanted to have at least 10 months of runway. When I say 10 months of runway, it should cover all my personal expenses and everything, like family expenses. If I suddenly need to make an urgent visit somewhere, it should not feel like a drain for that particular month. Everything, emergency plus this regular expenses that I'll have. So these are something you need to count and keep calculated while you're in the job itself to see how much expense you're making. So I wanted to have at least 10 months of no income whatsoever, but I can be absolutely fine. I can just be patient with getting a client and not grab onto any red flag clients who's just right around there roaming, who wants a $5 logo and such. So I'm not immediately jumping onto an opportunity like that. Along with that, I needed to be ready for my getting my laptop, a good laptop which can actually solve all my problems. Like if I need a high performance laptop, I need to have the budget for that. Then there is subscriptions like Adobe subscription. So I calculated all this. There is a Google Workspace because I have a domain based email ID. So that it's a lot more professional, and when I reach out to clients, it shows that this is coming from a legitimate business. For the new ones who are trying to utilize the current weather of how things are advancing, I definitely recommend including ChatGPT subscription as well. So that is also very helpful. So these are the kind of things that I thought I need to be ready with. So for 10 months, can I be relaxed and I can pay those things and then sit and do my work without like having any sort of fear in the back of my head? And if that is possible, then you can go ahead and quit your job and get started.
There are strategies that you have to adapt in order to make yourself presented properly in front of your target audience, right? And the success rate of every other agency or every other designer very much relies on their ability to market their services. For that, personal branding plays a huge role into making that happen. What are the things that go into establishing a successful personal brand?
You have to be very authentic. You have to be very real, because internet right now can smell overconfident facade that you have in your face when you're actually not that much of an expert. For me, in my personal experience, I'm a very awkward, lazy person, and I'm also I'm this pissed off mom sort of personality that I have. And sometimes it shows off in some of my reels where I'm commenting on how poor certain logos are, and I'll act as if like, do you not have eyes? Why are you doing like this? And one of the other biggest part of my personality is me being a mom. Okay, and I wear that on my sleeve. I'm very open and vulnerable about talking about my life as a mompreneur. And it's not to cash in the idea that I'm a mom. After my motherhood only, I started my entrepreneurship. So it runs hand in hand, and people love that I'm being very authentic and open about it. And the biggest example of this personal branding working as a success for me is that this big client I told you about, this antennas that I worked with, they reached out to me saying that, hey, we saw reel where you were sharing your experience as a mother and starting your business within 6 months of your baby being born, and how you're really passionate about it, and post your baby how you've been successful at getting 2 clients and working with them. And we saw that you had your kid in your lap and you were still working, and it was such a beautiful thing to see. And we were in awe, and you were so driven. We just wanted to work with you. Do you see what that is doing? Like, me just sharing that motherhood with entrepreneurship is hard, and people have been commenting that you can't do both, you have to take a break. And I was just sharing that with my audience. It's like sort of this venting feeling it was. And I told them like, yet I want to do it. I'm really passionate about it. I can do both. I was just sharing with my audience. And somehow it clicked with one of the audience, and they thought that, you know what? She's being vulnerable. I like that. She liked the personality. Then it sort of clicked in her head. I want to see what she does. I really want to see what she does. And then they go onto your profile and they see what you do. And they're like, fantastic. This is something I wanted. This is something I need. Let's just do it. Since then, I have been very open about sharing my personal experience regarding what I do in terms of my business.
I'm sure while starting a business, you come across various obstacles and setbacks, right? These obstacles kind of challenge your progress. Can you share any personal anecdote where you have faced such issues that can be considered as a major setback?
I've had clients who have ghosted me after completion of 3/4 of the project, and they did not make final payments. I've had clients like that, which really puts me in a very upsetting position, because until then I was under this impression that I was doing everything right. I was accommodating, I was facilitating, and they seemed excited, and they seemed to be on par. And when we were working based on instruction that were provided on them, they were not satisfied with it, and they were not ready to do a lot more of back and forth, and they wanted to just not continue working with me in this project. So that was a very upsetting and fearful moment for me, that what if this happens more often? What if it happens with a bigger client? What if it happens when I've just made like a big investment into the business? How do I deal with all that? That was the moment when I drafted this particular contract called the creative contract. It is 20 rules that I have applied for my clients exclusively. If they want to onboard me as a designer, they have to go through these 20 rules. They have to agree to it. They have to sign on that contract, and only then I onboard them as my client, along with an advance payment. Of course, I encourage all designers to get an advance payment. Don't even pick up the pen without getting that advance payment. I have not faced a single bad client after that, because the rules that I put into this particular contract were very reasonable, very efficient, and also very useful for the client themselves. And they just realize that this is sort of like in a systematic business which is delivering you concrete results. These sort of rules are necessary for us to get a fast turnover. The clients also do not want to drag the project. They just want to get the work done, and we also want to have a smooth relationship with them. So before even starting, if you put forward the most uncomfortable portion of the engagement, which is you have to make an advance payment, there is 3 portions of installment of payment. We provide 3 rounds of free revision. After that, each revision will cost this much. And every sort of these clauses, if you put in front of them and if they're okay with that and if they sign it, then you can move forward. And you also have to state all the consequences that happen if the client does not follow it. That's the maximum power you hold in the project. Like, if you do not follow these rules, we will not be delivering the end result for you. It's as simple as that. This is such a painful moment for a lot of designers. I do not want them to go through that. I want them to respect themselves. I want them to be comfortable and confident about their business. So for that reason, I released Creative Contract for everyone. It is available on my website. People can buy it, and it's 799 rupees right now. And it is a template, so you can customize it to match your own branding. So those are the advantages that I've added into the product.
So yeah, on that note, we are kind of approaching the end of our session, and I would like you to share a couple of tips or actionable advices that any designer or any manager is looking forward to start their own agency in the near future.
I'd say don't be fearful. Learn a lot, learn everything about it. Consume information about starting your agency like you're breathing. Consume content like that. The abundance of information out there for you to do it right is phenomenal out there. Make notes, write down your plans, and then you'll realize like how much love you have for it. And when you get started, you'll have a lot more clarity. The more you read about it, the more you will know what exactly you're supposed to do. So I'll say read a lot.
Great. So learning is a cycle that does not stop at any moment of our life.
It doesn't. No, it does not. I sometimes feel a little irritated that, oh my god, I need to learn animation now. I need to learn this now. I need to learn ChatGPT, this AI, DALL-E. Oh my god. But the fact that if I need to really be a successful designer, I need to learn. And learning just makes our business stronger. If spending a few hours not working on the business and working on myself and learning the skill is going to really increase my potential, where I'm automating stuff and everything is happening at a much faster rate, at a much better result, why would I not do that, right? So definitely invest a lot in learning.
Thank you so much, Jay, or should I say Jayashree, for the Indian audiences, for being able to come to our show and share your knowledge and experiences to design or to establish a successful design agency.
Absolutely. It's been such a wonderful experience to talk to you, and I'll never forget my first podcast. It was such a good experience. You were such a good host, and I felt so comfortable, and I got to share all these stories and even learn from you a little bit. And it's such a great experience to have. So I'm very thankful that you invited me here.